This is a top 10 of movies that you can watch on the US Amazon Prime right now. And this month we have a theme that runs through the movies, and they're all to do with sort of 80s, 90s cheesy action movies, and they all kind of have those aesthetics or themes round about them. I wanted to make a fun month of kind of forgettable movies that you can throw on, forget what's happening round about you, and just enjoy the heck out of them. So let's get started. Number 10 is Escape from LA. Snake Plissken is coerced by the US government once more to retrieve a doomsday device that has crash landed in LA, which is now an island off the coast of America where all the undesirables are put. Now, I love a John Carpenter flick. Even the bad ones, I get a lot of joy out of them. And this is not one of his best ones, but it's nowhere near any of his sort of misfires that he did. But I kind of like Escape from LA. It really kind of follows the plot of Escape from New York very closely. It doesn't change too much. It just adds a little bit of a 90s spin on it. It's got some special effects which really don't hold up too well. But the best thing about it, and you could say the best special effect, is Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. It is a great character and one that I like to see, one of cinema's best anti-heroes. Number 9 is The Relic. A homicide detective and an anthropologist try to destroy a South American lizard-like god who's eating people on a rampage in a natural history museum in a Chicago museum. People trapped in a building with a monster chasing after them. It's the kind of plot that you've seen lots before and you're familiar with the kind of tropes that go with it, and this does kind of hit most of them. But it's still really entertaining, and it's got a really cool monster at the heart of it. It's a really great design on it as well. It's got a good lead with Tom Sizemore. Penelope Ann Miller is pretty good as well. It is a little bit generic, but it is a whole lot of fun. It's kind of atmospheric, and I really like this movie. Number 8 on my list is Terminator Genisys. John Connor sends Kyle Reese back to save his mum, much like he did in the first movie, only the timeline has already been changed, and sending back this Terminator alters the timeline even further. After part 2, this series takes a downturn. So when we get to part 5, why are we expecting greatness? We know it's not really going to happen. It's not the first time that Arnold Schwarzenegger's come back. He was there for part 3, which was just as bad. So go into it looking for some good action, some good special effects. Don't worry about if it affects Terminator 1 or 2. It doesn't matter, those movies are there, they're never going to change. Part 5 I find enjoyable as a standalone kind of movie. It does some nice twists and turns with the original story, but ultimately it's just a fun action flick, and I still have Terminator 1 and 2 when I want my proper fix of that franchise. Number 7 is American Ultra. A stoner who is in fact an American agent is marked as a liability and targeted for extermination. But he's too well trained and he's just too high for them to handle. So the trailer made this out to be one thing, a specific kind of Jason Bourne-esque action movie, but it's not really that. In fact, the movie is a little bit jumbled as in what tone or tact it wants to take. It is a little bit drama, it's a little bit comedy, it's a little bit action. It's a wee bit of everything. Even the story points seem familiar. They seem to have been arcs or little points taken from a lot of various different movies that we've seen recently in the cinema. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie, it just means it's a little bit familiar, and with the hype kind of passed by and the bad reviews fading away, it's time to give this a watch and a re-evaluation. It is quite interesting, it's got some good action set pieces, it's got some good performances, and it is worth your time. Number 6 is Solomon Kane. A ruthless mercenary renounces violence once he finds out that he is destined to go to hell. When a young girl is kidnapped and her family slain by a sorcerer, he has to take up the mantle of his old persona, Solomon Kane, and seek vengeance for this girl and hopefully save her. This is an old-fashioned sword and sorcery movie, kind of like Conan, Red Sonja, things like that in the early 80s. But it's a little bit more than that. It's got some good special effects, not great because it didn't have a great budget. It's got some good performance by James Purefoy as Solomon Kane. It's kind of dark and muted colours, it looks pretty good, it's a nice story, and I would have liked to have seen more with this character, further adventures of Solomon Kane. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but at least we still have this movie, which is well worth your time. Number 5 on my list is Event Horizon. A rescue crew investigates a spaceship that disappeared through a black hole, but has now returned with someone or something else on board. This is a really great science fiction horror movie. It's smart, it is scary, and it is very atmospheric. The horror in this one is a lot more psychological, although it does get a little bit more traditional near the end. The set design is absolutely outstanding, the thing looks amazing, and the cast in this thing is really good as well. If you haven't heard of Event Horizon or you haven't seen it in a while, it's time to give it a go. Number 4 is The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. A group of scouts on their last camp out discover the true meaning of friendship and camaraderie when they attempt to save their town from a zombie outbreak. The title of the movie kind of pushes you away. It says this is going to be silly, it's going to be stupid, it's got zombies but it's not serious zombies. It's the title that put me off for the longest while, and when I finally got around to watching it, I was surprised to find out that yes, it is a little silly, not as much as I thought it was going to be, and it was actually really fun. A nice, interesting take on the zombie movies that are out there. Plot is a little formulaic, but I liked the core group of the 3 scouts who were really good together, and I liked their camaraderie. And I had a couple of other actors that really made it worthwhile as well. Some good comedic moments. The zombies were actually pretty good, and this is a really fun movie. Number 3 is Twister. Bill and Joe are advanced storm chasers on the edge of divorce, but together they must create an advanced warning system by putting themselves in the centre of an extremely violent tornado outbreak. This was the movie that Jan de Bont did after Speed, and it's a really special effects heavy movie. And have they held up? Yes and no. Some of them are a little ropey, some of them you can get by with, but ultimately they kind of add to the aesthetic of the movie now. The cast are really good, there are some really good action set pieces. Best of all, it's got a flying cow. And if you don't know what I mean, you really need to see the movie to see the flying cow. Okay, it doesn't look great anymore, but it was such a wacky thing to see at the time. Number 2 is Hard Rain. Tom and Charlie are armoured truck drivers who get attacked by a gang of robbers. One of the men manages to hide the money in this abandoned town that has been abandoned because of a flood warning, and that's when all hell breaks loose as the robbers are after the money, a corrupt sheriff is after the money, and one of the guys is just left with nowhere to go and has to fight back. This is an action thriller starring Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman. It's a kind of ludicrous film that has to be seen to be believed. There's lots of strange action in this abandoned town as the water level rises and rises. And it's kind of unique in its setting that way. Now it does have some interesting action set pieces, and the performances are good enough in this forgettable action thriller that you probably haven't heard of before, but it's there. It fits into my 80s, 90s cheesy action theme that I'm doing this month, so give it a shot. You may actually like it. Just don't expect an Oscar-winning masterpiece here. Number 1 on my list, and one of my favourite movies of all time, and it is a real cheesy 80s, 90s action movie, monster movie as well, and that is Tremors. Natives of a small isolated town defend themselves against strange underground worm-type creatures that can hear their footsteps and movement. I love Tremors. I've seen it more times than I care to mention, and now I want you to check it out. That's why it's my number 1 this month. The cast are great of this small town, but the best is definitely Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon as the 2 leads in the movie. Their interactions, their camaraderie, their charisma together is fantastic, and what makes the movie really enjoyable for me, let alone these really unique, really fantastic creature designs. And as a kind of horror-ish movie, because it is a monster movie, you'd expect it to be set at night, which this definitely isn't. It's all during the day, which is an unusual setting for this kind of movie. Best thing you can do, get a group of friends round, get this on, and you'll have a great time watching this movie. So thanks for watching. Remember to come back next month and see another top 10 of movies that you can watch on US Amazon Prime. And I will see you next time on Man vs. Film.